but I'm like one of these on time kind of people. And I know for my speakers, you said, well, we want to be able to talk to the people in the seats, but I'm on time because I have to respect your time. Mm-hmm. So for me, this is me. Mm-hmm. Your time is money. Mm-hmm. Yes, and you got other things to do because I also believe in work-life balance. Mm-hmm. Are you guys following me? Yep. So I am super excited. Is that cake? I mean, I was just wondering. You know, I'm sorry I stopped for cake. Is you know, we'll be talking a lot about cake today. If I don't teach nothing else, we're gonna teach some cake. So I'm so excited to be here, and I know people are wondering what is Run Women's Conference. What is Run? Are we gonna run? I had people call and go, y'all gonna be exercising because you know the way my body is set up. And I says, no. I says, we're always running. What woman do you know that's not running? We're always running to do something. Right? We're running to the cleaners. We're running to pick up the kids. We're running, you know, to get to work. We're always running. Right? So when God gave me the vision for Run Women's Conference, that's the name that he gave me. And so it's amazing how it has evolved. 5 years ago we started. We're in our 5th year, and we're already planning our 6th year. So we plan a year in advance and what we're going to be doing. But our mission is to grow small business and grow small business globally. And this, I'm from Dallas, Texas. And I get to hear a lot about how we can close that door so y'all not peeking around the corner like y'all, you know. And so it's amazing when I hear people that say, I don't go to Gary, or I don't go to St. Louis, or I don't go. And to me, when you look at the reasons why small business fail or grow, a lot of it has to do with your beliefs and your visions and your values and what you will and will not do. And so when I study businesses before I go into a city, or when I study business demographically or by gender or by heritage or race, you look at those reasons to find out why those businesses fail or succeed. And one of the reasons why is because we have in our minds, or it's laziness, about what we're not going to do. But when God tells us to enlarge our territory and take over the land, and we refuse to do that, then your business is only going to sit where it is right now. So when I think about business, I think of business everywhere. I do business all over the United States. There's not one state that I'm not registered to do business in. So I look for opportunities. And one of the reasons why women-owned business and minority-owned business fail is not money. Did you know that? When people say, "Well, I don't have money. I don't have the money to do this," it's not money. That's not the reason why small business fail. The reason why small businesses fail has to do with opportunity. So what opportunities are you looking for to grow your business? So that's really what Run Women's Conference is all about. Our speakers and our teachers and our trainers have to be able to convey that same message about how to grow your business and grow it globally. Are you guys following me? Y'all just looking at me like I'm speaking in tongues or something strange. So what makes me an authority to talk? And I always ask this question. But people always say, "Well, you know, Cassandra, how did you start doing all of this?" I'm like, I woke up smart. But how do really? Are you serious? And so someone asked a question on Facebook, I think it was this week, and they said I want you to tell 2 truths and a lie about yourself. So I put on there, I eat cake every day, white cake, buttercream frosting, raspberry filling, just if you want me to be specific. I like to peel oranges where you don't break the rind, and I was a crash test dummy. And so they said, well, the crash test dummy is the lie. I said, I was a crash test dummy. So that makes me an authority to talk today. This true story, I was a crash test dummy. I started in 1982. My background, my degree is I'm a biomechanical engineer specializing in kinematics. So, sounds like I'm real smart, don't it? A whole bunch of student loans. It ain't what you think it is. I was a crash test dummy. And it's a true story. I was a crash test dummy. They would stuff us in cars. I was a claims adjuster. And they would crash the cars. True story. And we didn't sign any releases, so if I'm a little bit off, just know that today you guys are now my therapists. I'm going to put it out there right now, so there's nothing hidden. This girl's got a few screws loose. So I was a crash test dummy. That's what my degree is. I'm a biomechanical engineer. So we used to measure energy that went through vehicles to determine whether or not a body moved inside of that vehicle. And if it moved, which way did it go? Could you be injured? If so, what those injuries could be. So I'm a barnyard attorney, and I'm a barnyard chiropractor, so just so you know. And so started that in 1982, but I think I cleaned up pretty good from being a crash test dummy. You know, mentally I'm not quite sure, but physically I'm all right. So in 2004, I started my own business. I left corporate America. I used to work for AAA Insurance. As a matter of fact, my very first business is called Insurance Medical Records Review. I still have that business. It's run out of my California office. I only have 3 major clients. That's AAA of Chicago, Michigan, and Kentucky. And I really want to shut the business down, but I'll put 2 people out of work, so I still have it. I'm a little hands off unless the cases go to trial. So I'm a little hands off because I prefer to talk to small business owners, and I'll tell you how I got all of that. So in 2005, I picked up a client in Texas. It was Neiman Marcus. And they were getting ready to settle a case for about $15 million. A lady slipped and fell in one of the Neiman Marcus stores. And they sent all the medical records to our firm for us to help them to determine the value of the case. And I was like, you guys don't even owe it. You may owe her anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000. So I was going back and forth to Texas for about a year and a half, talking to a bunch of attorneys, and my job was this. Right here. See what it said right here? And that'll be the end of it, and they have to pay me all this money. And so they said, well, Cassandra, are you a certified minority-owned business? And I'm like, well, why are we bringing race into this? And they said, well, if you are, we're getting ready to, we have a $4 million contract that you can bid on if you are. I said, if? The question is when. So I diverted my flight. A great friend of mine named John Ruiz said, Cassandra, I've been telling you about this program. I'm like, well, first of all, I had too much business coming in. You can relate to this, Dolores. I had too much business coming in that I couldn't handle. We had already peaked $750,000 in 8 months when I left corporate America. So when I left corporate America, I was vice president of my region. I didn't leave by stealing sticky notes and ink pens like the rest of y'all. We still got evidence in your house. I'm not coming to your house. And so started that business. I got certified, bid it on the contract. No one bid it against me. I won on default. But I figured if I could do this and win a contract, surely my colleagues could do the same thing. So I flew to Washington, D.C., learned everything there was to know, became certified to teach it in 50 states. And I didn't read the bottom of the contract that said, you must be a resident of Texas. I'm like, what the what? Sold my home before the bubble burst and moved to Texas and have been teaching this program ever since. So I started a company called Genesis Preferred Solutions. I started a chamber of commerce, so I can give me a reason so I can be a lobbyist, so I can champion and fuss and cuss for small businesses everywhere. And the rest is history. So I absolutely love what I do. So you have to tell me, Cassandra, this is business. You need to stop. What do you do for fun? Business. Oops, sorry, cake. You know, it all goes together. It's because people come into my office with cake. I'm like, you're not paying me in cake, are you? No. You got to ask questions. Y'all got to ask some questions. So in 2013, I won an award for Latina Business of the Year. Yeah, hola, señorita. And 2013, I started the Raw Women's Conference. And I think I told this yesterday. How I even got started. When God downloaded this to me, and about 28 years ago, my pastor said, Cassandra, I have a word from you from the Lord. And I'm like, it's after Bible study. You got to go eat to replenish the body, right? And she said, I see you on a stage and you're talking to thousands and thousands of women. I said, stop, that's the devil. So sorry. I don't even like women that way. I like sports. Women talk when the game is on. It ain't gonna work out for me, right? And I'm a sports girl. I'm a daddy's girl, right? I love basketball, boxing, football in that order, and some wrestling. You know, I'm from Illinois originally, to do wrestling at the Chase in St. Louis. Oh, I'm sorry. And so I remember I got a call one day, and I was in therapy. I was in a therapy session. I told y'all I was a little off. But I was in therapy session. I got a phone call from this lady, and I was at DSW Shoes in therapy. And she called me and she said, Cassandra, I want you to speak at this women's conference you promised last year. I said, girl, I'm booked. You can't book me the same year. I'm booked a year in advance. She said, but you promised me last year. You said your word is your bond. I'm like, don't be regurgitating what I said. I always try to tell you what you said. What did you say? And I said, I'm so busy. I don't have time for your conference. And she was like, oh my God, I done pushed out flyers with your picture on it. I'm like, what? People, you ain't paid me nothing, right? And I was upset. And I told her I would do it, and I was so upset. I was having an audible conversation in DSW Shoes. My God, when are these women going to learn? What is this last minute stuff? Why people always late? And I'm just going off. And people are walking by me, and I'm having an audible conversation. I told y'all I was a crash test dummy, so, So I figured I better take this conversation out to my truck. I live in Texas, so I do drive a truck. And so I didn't realize that I had on one of their shoes and one of mine. I mean, we even. You got mine, I got yours. Don't send security out here. I'm going to come back in. And, when you, how many of you have ever gossiped with the Lord? How many of you ever just want to gossip? Just, I'm going to her, and you need to talk to her, and she, and them, and they. And he said, you. I said, focus Jesus on them. We gossiping about her. Come on. Because that's our relationship. He said, no, you. What are you going to do what I told you to do? And so that's how Run Women's Conference was birthed. I had wrote it on the back of a telephone message pad, and I remember I called Noah. And I called all these people. I think we had about 30-some people. I called this big old meeting in Addison, Texas, and I called all these community leaders and civic leaders, and we're going to do this Run Women's Conference. Yeah. So that's how long we have been at this thing. So I have been a speaker for about 14 years, and so I'm not new at this. So Run Women's Conference has evolved, and we have been on the move. And I'm going to do a little side note as to how I met Noah. And y'all pray for him. I met Noah because when I join groups, and I'm a part of a few, I get on the board, Pastor, because I'm nosy. I need to know what's going on from the top, right? Then I want to meet everybody. That's why I tell people, you don't want to network with me, because I want to meet everybody in the room, because I believe, I want to know what everybody do, and they need to know what I do, right? And so I met Noah. I'm on the board for the Retired NFL Players Association, and I meet Noah and all these fat linebackers, So I'm walking up, hi, I'm Cassandra Bradford, and what's your name? And I'm Too Tall Jones. I'm like, first name Too, middle name Tall, last name Jones. I got it, right? So I go up to Noah, and all these football, I'm talking to all these guys, and I was there with Eric Bailey, who used to play for the Atlanta Falcons. Isn't that what he played for? Yeah, Atlanta Falcons. So Eric had invited me, so I'm like, Eric, what's with these old, do they think they're some kind of celebrities or something? They don't want to tell me who they are? What's going on? And he was like, Cassandra, there's something wrong with him. So I see Noah. I'm like, hi, my name is Cassandra. He was like, Google me. I said, no, dude. Google me. This is what you want to do. So sorry. I won a couple NAACP awards. I'm trying to run down my little resume to him. You better Google me. And so we were talking about what we were going to do for Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was coming to Dallas that year. If you know anything about Super Bowl, they come a year before. And I was on the Emerging Business Committee for Super Bowl to get small businesses certified Super Bowl. So, I'm thinking about how Cassandra's getting ready to make money off Super Bowl. Cassandra made money off Super Bowl. Anyway, no, sorry. So anyway, I'm like, okay, we should do baking with the NFL, So he's like, I'm going to need you to stop. He gave me the hand. I'm going to need you to stop. Nobody's talking to you. And I'm like, dude, do you know who I am? And he said, no. I said, I'm somebody. I'm Jesus' favorite, right? And, I don't know. I ain't Too Tall Jones and all these other guys. And he said, you can't bake and you can't cook. I said, hold that thought. One of my employees, we had a birthday. He didn't come to work that day. Called in sick. And I had made a death by chocolate cake. This is funny because I'm allergic to chocolate. So anyway, in my car was this cake. I said, hold on, you fat sons of chickens. And I went out to my car and I got the cake. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I don't hear you talking now. And I'm talking trash, right? Because these are sports people. And I look up and I see a long line of ex-football players with little salsa plates. My name is James Johnny Jones Jr. I'm like, I know the full. I mean, but no, it was so funny to me. So anyway, we did do business with Super Bowl, and I ended up making a lot of money to rent a parking lot. Charge all of them a whole bunch of money, park in my parking lot that I only paid $300 for. So I made money on Super Bowl. So anyway, 2016 I won an NAACP award. 2018 this year, I can't wait. This is like I'm winning the Equanimity Award for International Woman of the Year. So I'm more proud of that one than my NAACP award that I got. I'm like, and it's not like you do things because you want to get an award. I do work for clothes. Stuff like that, but that's absurd. But I do it because I have a passion for hurting women. Back to that word that I got. My job, my purpose, not my vision. My purpose is to help women in transition, and everybody in this room is in transition. Who's not in transition? We either trying to lose weight, gain weight, get hair, buy hair, cut hair. Contacts, no contacts. We're all in transition, right? We're trying to grow business, start a business, end a business, kill a business. We're in transition, right? So I've been really busy. Like I said, I've authored a few books. I own about 5 companies. I run 3 simultaneously at the same time. I'm 80% owner of a publishing company, so I can push out some books. So I'm pretty busy, but I absolutely love what I do. How many of you love what you do? How many of you own a business? And how many of you would sell whatever it is you sell or do whatever you do for free? Because if you wouldn't, I would tell you to stop and go get a job. Because if you don't absolutely love what you do and you have a passion for it, I would tell you to stop. Because what if you can't meet a deadline? Or what is it if you can't produce when you say you can produce? You don't want to lose a client, so sometimes that one may be on the house, right? So you have to make sure you absolutely love what you do. I find clients $1 million contracts. And so people are like, oh, Cassandra, what's hot right now? Right? And I just put this on Facebook the other day. Cassandra, I put on Facebook that the city of Irving, Texas is looking for speakers who have authored a book. And it's like a $83,000, $84,000 contract. Oh my God, Cassandra. I'm like, you ain't in a book. It said you must have a book. Oh, Cassandra, I can do that. I'm like, why are you calling me? It says go onto the city's website. So you have to absolutely love what you do, because if not, it will become a job. How many of you work a job you hate right now? Or you remember? Or you remember working? Are you member? You member?
I'm a member.
You remember? I remember.
Yes.
Yes. When I left corporate America, I loved my job. I was going back to school getting degrees, picking up student loans. You got to sell a house to pay off student loans. So that was just me. And so I absolutely loved what I worked for. AAA. The name of it was one of their subsidiaries called Western United Insurance. I worked there 7 years. Never called in sick. Never took vacation. How many of you work a job? You never called in sick. Never took vacation. And my vacation had 5 weeks that rolled over, right? Never. I love my job. I love that paycheck every 2 weeks. I had a daughter in private school I couldn't afford. I was living in a house I couldn't afford, driving a car I couldn't afford. You know how we live beyond our means, right? And but I had a team that loved to work, and I was taught, and I had mostly men on my team. They said, if you feed a man, he'll stay, right? So I fed them. We had, make your own chili day and make your own omelet day. They came to work, and I was in my office going back to school online. I'm like, I hire adults and professionals. Y'all do the work, don't knock on my door. Well, you have to remember, I had 35 weeks of vacation. And I remember that I started this program, and I hired the best of the best, and we had just saved the company $1.8 $8 million in 6 months. And I remember the president of the company coming down to congratulate us. I'm like, you're going to divide it by 12. You know, you go put the wash and dry on layaway. You know, was what I did. And so he came down and he took us to a P.F. Chang's all you could eat. At that time, P.F. Chang's was an all you could eat $3.99 facility. No, they didn't jacked up their prices since then, right? That's a long time ago. And I'm thinking they're gonna divide the savings. He took us to lunch. Well, my boss, whose job I was getting ready to transition into, said, Cassandra, how dare you go to lunch with Jim? I'm like, he's president. President said go to lunch with the president. You know, but I didn't go. I took everybody with me. You know, if I'm gonna go down, the whole team going, right? And he said, because you did that, I'm gonna put you in isolation. Do you know I still have that 3-part memo, the pink copy? Yeah, he put me in isolation, built me a cubicle in the storage room. I boo-hoo cried for weeks. I'm like, what did I do? I'm here every day. I'm here on Saturdays. I had the best producing department for 5 years straight. Because, you know, they produced, I got bonus. It worked for me, right? And I couldn't figure out what I had done wrong. And he said, well, Cassandra, we've done things to you before. So I called one of my chiropractor friends, and I'm just in awe of it all. He said, Cassandra, why don't you start your own business? I said, dude, okay, California, Valley girl. Dude, I am a single parent at that time. I am a woman in a male-dominated industry. I'm a black woman in a male. I had all these. I'm a single mother. I'm this. I'm that. These are all the prohibitors as to why I can't do this. And he said, Cassandra, get off my phone. I run a thriving practice. And he hung up. I'm like, I'll see him at church. I just come tomorrow. It's okay. You got to hear this story. My tears are real. He said, call some of those attorneys you helped make rich. I said, I can't call them. Well, I did. I took 3 days off. HR says, you can't take 3 days off. I have 35 weeks. I just need trysts. They said, no, what are you going to do? Well, at that time, I think my daughter was in the 4th grade. She made mommy some business cards at Microsoft Publisher. She was in private school. And so I took those business cards to Los Angeles, and before I got back, my fax machine was out of paper. So when I left for AAA as a client. That particular office went out of business 2 years later. So there's a moral to the story. The story is you have to do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. What if I hadn't done it? What if I would have let those same fears and those same prohibitors keep me back, like most of you guys, from stepping out? I'm going to tell you this. You know, I read this book, and I can't think of his name. I think the last name of one guy is Hammer or something. Have you guys heard that book, One Word is Red? It says you take one word and it's supposed to apply to five areas of your life, not make New Year's resolution. This year my word is execute. And it has to apply to 5 areas of my life, financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of that. My word this year is execute. It's been my word since January 1st. And I did a book study of this book on Facebook this year. And they said if it takes you longer than 40 minutes to read the book, then you're a slow reader. Call your first grade teacher. And I've been reading this book. I do it every year. And I've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years now. And so my word this year is execute. So everything that I'm doing that God has downloaded to me, I have to execute. And then if I'm not executing, I'm executing. I have no other choice but to execute. So people are like, well, Cassandra, that's cute, but I have the same fears that many of you have. What if it don't work? But what if it do? Well, you don't have any money. Well, so what? How many of you have ever heard the term you can make $1 out of 15 cents? How many of you have ever made $1 out of 15 cents? Right. But why is it when it comes to business, we can't make $1 out of 15 cents? I'm just, so it's by choice? I'm just wondering. So my last title that I want to tell you about, I'm an awesome mother. I have a 24-year-old. Her name is Paris, and she has her own company. She just picked up a very large client. She is a marketing PR firm, but she won't help her mama, so she in my house, so y'all pray for me that I don't throw her out. Right?
Some kind of way.
Some kind of way she gotta go. No, I am so glad she's back home. She graduated from Oklahoma University. She is my twin. As a matter of fact, I know her thoughts. I could look at her face like, you bet not. Okay. Right? Yeah, mothers, we know our children. And she is just like so much smarter than me. And like, Mom, all you got to do is this. And plus, she's home and helping me with technology. That's what they're good for, isn't it? That's what I think. So, Run Women's Conference, as you guys know, we're in our 5th year, and we go all over the country talking about Run Women's Conference and educating small business, right? So, Run Women's Conference is not my day job. I do have a company called Genesis Preferred, but it is my passion, right? So, we have been to Atlanta, Nashville, Louisville. I almost got killed in Louisville, y'all. We were on the rental car bus, and I said, "What is there to do in Louisville?" He went, "Skirt." We went flying to it's Louisville. I'm like, he just said, we were like, Louisville. We got to meet the beautiful Tanya in the back. Man, we have been on a road. We're here in Chicago. We'll be in St. Louis May 5th. We'll be in Los Angeles May 29th. We'll be in Huntsville, Alabama, June 9th, and then we'll be in Dallas, Texas, which is our big conference, July 20th and 21st. So then we do a monthly brunch. I know, like when you work, you make money. We do a monthly brunch, and then we also have an organization that we have attached ourselves to called Run Women Cares, where we give to 2 transitional living homes. Every year we look for 2 nonprofit organizations that we can give to, because I believe that my blessing is tied to my giving. No? Yes? Maybe? I don't know about that. I believe that. So I believe that my blessing is tied to my giving, and I may not can give monetarily all the time, but I can give something. So last year we collected 7,000 purses. They had to get a U-Haul truck. My people gave. Right this year, we're collecting 18,000 bars of soap. So I asked, if anybody has any soap, I know Dollar Tree has 3 for $1. I have promised 2 transitional living homes 18,000 bars of soap. Just this week, I had one of my clients come to our office with 10,000 bars of soap. So I am extremely happy about that. I'm like, I got a truck. I was trying to sound all Texan. I got a truck. Let's put the soap in my truck, y'all. So he put all the soap. I'm like, I ain't got nowhere to put it. My husband said, we can't get nothing else in this garage. All this Run Women's Conference stuff. What's going on here? We got stuff. So, and it's just been a blessing. I'm telling you, when you start walking in your purpose, it becomes a blessing. I'm telling you, we get so many people that go, Cassandra, what can I do to help? What can I do? And it's like, you really want to help? And they go, yes. So we absolutely love. So I talk about teaching a woman how to fish, but I believe iron sharpens iron. It's really, it doesn't have a female verb in the original Greek. Look it up fast, teacher, probably, it has because I can go to you and I can say, Dolores, girl, he did me wrong. He did this to me. He said, girl, he ain't no good. I got you. I feel so much better. Ain't that what we do? You should just sharpen me and tell me I can do it. You can do it, girl. You just go on. You're going to be all right. Isn't that what we do? That's that iron that sharpens iron. And that's what we have to learn. We have to stop having this crab in the barrel mentality where we want to tear you down so I can look better and be better than you. What can I do to help you? I'm a part of an organization called Big Girls. Naomi's a part of that group, and do you know that we are a group of women that actually like each other? Can you believe? And do you know when we get ready to leave, I get girly and I start crying? I'm like, oh my God, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? I don't do that. I'm not I don't have my emotions out there like that. But I am so girly. I'm like, is this because I'm 27? What is going on? Where did this come from? But we actually help each other. What can I do? We get together. What do you need? You need a bigger sheet? We're going to do it for you right now. You need a forward in your book? You need me to write it? We're going to do it right now. What do you need to learn some technology, Naomi? Yeah. Oh, God, let us do a tutorial. Maybe I need to fly to New York.
Set you up on schedule.
We're going to But we actually get along. But it's not just that group. I have commanded that atmosphere. We will get along because guess what? I deal with $1 million contracts with the government and Fortune 500 companies. And I'm going to tell you, 99% of the time, the reason why we don't get those contracts is because, number one, we may not have the capacity, but we refuse the team. Have you heard the saying, a little piece of the pie is better than no pie? I'm sorry, a little piece of the cake is better than no cake at all? How do you think I consume cake every day? And I'm not 2 tons of fun. I just want a taste of it. I just want a little bit. And I do eat cake every day. I've been eating cake every day since I was 6 years old. As a matter of fact, I need a muffin, which is cake. And cake will be in heaven, in case you don't know. For y'all that don't read your Bible, is in Leviticus 2, where they tell the people what to bring as an acceptable offering. Bring us your best flour, your best sugar, your best oil, mixed together in a bowl and baked in the oven. What is that? Cake. It's a sweet smell in the Lord's nostrils. So I'm just letting you know we getting back to cake. Everything leads back to cake with me. That's how I teach. Now you want some cake, don't you, Mr. Worthy? I know you want some cake. I do some too. So Romans Conference, I love it. We had Sheila E. there 2 years ago. We've had Jewel Tankard. We're looking at Dolly Parton and some other people. Man, we have just been blessed. And then, when Jewel Tankard came and taught in Nashville, I didn't know that girl had a master's in economics. I done wrote on my pants. I done wrote off the paper. I was like, this girl is smart, right? And I guess it helps that one of my goddaughters is the president of the Tennessee Women's Chamber of Commerce, so that kind of helps us, which is how I got to meet Dolly Parton, which is how I get to eat shepherd's pie every time I go to Nashville. So I just absolutely love what I do. And then I believe, what was it, like 3-4 years ago, Noah's nephew was a bodybuilder, and we had fun with him. We told him to take off his shirt. It was a long story, but ladies, I have to tell y'all this on the sideboard. Just ask me what had happened, and I'll tell you. I got pictures. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. So we have fun, and I already told you guys about all the places that we go to, and for some of you that follow me on social media, I think I put out there yesterday, I had a big surprise coming up, so since y'all are here, I guess I'll tell you, Tanya. I got to tell you, I can't hold water. So Romans Conference is going global.
Woo-hoo.
We are going global. As a matter of fact, we are already planning for next year to go to Nigeria. I can't think of the other country in South Africa. We're going to the Bahamas. And so we had to go global because now Romans Conference will be held at Dallas Cowboys Stadium in 2019. So we are super excited. So when you see someone that you know that is selling out a stadium, and it's kind of amazing to me if you knew the backstory on this, because didn't I tell you I was a lobbyist, right? And I called a press conference when Cowboy Stadium came to Arlington, Texas, and I called Jerry Jones a pimp on television. I did. I called him a pimp. Anyway, it's a long story. But it's amazing now that we're friends. He is a pimp. Because guess what? They did something they had no business doing, and then Jerry Jones turned around and pimped the entire city of Arlington. I said that y'all even, because what they did, what had happened was they rezoned and said it was a low income area. It was not. Jerry Jones got a $12 million TIF grant that other small minority, in southern states or in Confederate states, women of any ethnicity, including white women, are considered as minorities. So when I say minorities, I'm talking about women, because it's a Confederate state. So even women could not get this land, and I got upset about it. So I called a press conference, because I am a lobbyist, I have a 501c6, so I get to get on the news and tell this kind of stuff. And I'm like, Jerry Jones is a pimp, and all these women are minorities, and we can't get this and that. So anyway, I'll be at Cowboy Stadium with Jerry. So it's really funny to me. And so when we first started out to do Romans Conference the first year, I just have this bold kind of faith, and I'm like, we're going to do it at Cowboy Stadium. And Noah and the rest of my board and my teammates like, how much money we got? We ain't got no money. But that's where we're going to do it. So we go over to Cowboy Stadium, and it's amazing what I have in writing. How much do you guys think it's going to cost me to have an event at Cowboy Stadium? No. Anyway, me and Jerry cool like that. Y'all have no idea. So I am so super excited about that for next year. So anyway, I want to hear up and sit down. So let me just really tell you guys what our theme is this year. And it's really about how to build relational currency. I've written a couple of books. I even have a book about 21 ways to create relational currency. Do you guys, how many of you are, y'all kind of young. Back in the 80s and 90s, do y'all remember cross-functional marketing?
Yes.
You remember cross-functional marketing, how they tell you that you have to, on your job, you need to market for another department or another agency within the company. So in case somebody left their position, you can slide right into their position, but they ain't tell you that once they left, you'll be doing your work and their work. Mm-hmm.
That's the name of it.
Really, it was called cross-functional marketing because then you got to learn another part of the company, another job duties, and you got to talk about other departments or other areas of the company, especially if you were marketing and sales. Well, relational currency is almost like that, and I'm going to tell you what it means. As a therapist, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Rowe can understand this, when you go to therapy, you're talking about your relationship with your mate. A therapist would tell you that your mate has value. So you just can't get rid of them. Remember the song, cheaper to keep it, cheaper to keep it. Okay, I'm singing, I'm trying. So y'all, right? So your mate has value. So you just can't throw your mate away, your new mate tomorrow. Your mate has value. Well, just like in business relationships, why you want to build relationships with other people, because you need to learn how to place value on them. Are you guys following me? Okay, let me give you an example about what I mean. Because y'all looking like, I don't know. You talking about relationships and marriage. I ain't really married like that, so I don't know. So let's say that I meet Dolores, and I met Dolores how many years ago? Almost 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago. And I met Dolores at another meeting. And when I met her, we had kindred spirit. I thought she's smart. Right? So I figured what I do is I attach myself with people that are smarter than me, that give you the illusion that I'm smart too. Right? So I just stand there and let them do all the talking. They go, she must be smart. She with her. I'm sorry, this is my story. So I met Dolores and I fell in love with Dolores because she is very, very smart. So because I met her, we got to talking about business, right? Stop me when I'm wrong. We got to talking about business. She told me about what she does and how she values her clients and what she does for her clients and how she goes over and above for her clients. Well, I do the same thing for mine. Mine are like children. They bring me cake. And so I'm like, oh my God, who do I know in Chicago and the Indianapolis area that I can refer to Dolores? She doesn't owe me a referral fee because that's almost like a job. You know how people say, you refer somebody to me, I give you $25. Girl, that's a job. Don't give me, you ain't gonna give it to me anyway, so keep your $25. You're gonna tell me they ain't come and it's gonna be a fight.
Right.
I'm from Illinois, so I could or could not have a switchblade. I don't know. And so now I have placed value on Dolores because if something happens to Dolores, I have a deficit. Why would I have a deficit? Because she does the same thing for me. Oh my God, I know Cassandra. She does this. You need to talk to her. Cassandra, she's going to call you. I do the same thing for her. I was talking about her in Louisville, Kentucky. Now I've taken her business to Louisville, Kentucky. They know all about Dolores, don't they? How much was I talking about Dolores in Louisville, Kentucky? So now, if something happens to Dolores, I have a deficit. Because I place value on her. She doesn't owe me a referral fee because we're in a relationship. So we're in a relationship. So I don't do business because you're going to pay me some money. That's like a job. So you can't give me, I don't want your referral fee. When you leave with that, it ain't going to work out. We're going to have to break up. We finna break up. It's not going to work. So how do we build relational currency? Right? And how do we build it globally? How do I take her with me when I go to St. Louis now? Or how do I take her to Huntsville, Alabama with me? I know somebody. I meet nurses all the time. Oh my God, you need to go to her school. What Naomi say yesterday? She saved lives. Right. So how do we do that? But we're so busy going out networking. I don't talk to her because we do the same thing. Or she do something similar because she don't do it like me because I do it because I'm great. Instead of finding out, if you do the same thing that I do, let me find out what you do. I'll tell you what my niche is. And let's find a way that we can team together. I didn't say joint venture. I said team together. There is a difference. Teaming and joint ventures are two different things. You need to learn how to team. I have access to all kinds of contracts. I just got a contract for a client in Louisville, Kentucky. It started off as a $185,000 contract, No, I'm sorry. So it started off as $1 million contract. She didn't think she could do it. She thought her taxes were not in order. She went to the pre-bid meeting. She didn't win the contract, but they gave her a piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what she does for a living? She owns a black hair salon. Who gets a contract? I think it's something like $86,000. Well, they told her, well, the reason why you didn't get it because your 2013 tax return, something on line 27 wasn't right. So she ended up hiring a CPA. He says, no, that was not an error. Got some certified letter from the IRS. Guess what? The company that got awarded the contract could not perform. Guess who got a 3-year contract? So she ended up getting the $1 million. Now, I went to Louisville. She ain't got time to do my hair. Help you get the contract. You ain't got time for me. Where's relational currency at? Right? But that's what I love to do. So that's really what we're talking about. How do we all in this room get to be cross-functional marketers for somebody else? How do we build relational currency with somebody else? And I have a friend, his name is Forrest Ward, and he reminded me of something that we used to do about, 15 years ago when I first met him. And so we're going to do that today. So I want you guys to stand up. And I want you to find somebody that you don't know. And I want you to do this. Listen to the instructions, people. I want you to tell them your name. Tell them what you do. Tell them what you need help with. And then I'll tell you the next part of what you're going to do after that. Because I think, 3 steps is enough. Y'all can't, 4 could be too much. So I want you to find somebody that you don't know. Introduce yourself. Tell them what you do. And tell them what you need help with. This should not be a one-sided conversation. Y'all have to allow the other person to talk too. Oh, I see relational currency. All right, let's 60 seconds to wrap it up. Y'all into my time. All right. Okay. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay. All right. 1 second, y'all. So the last part of the instruction is to pull out your phone. Pull out your phone. You don't have to take a picture of me. You don't want to. But I want you to schedule a time that you guys are going to talk, meet, Zoom, Skype on the follow-up. Because your money is in the follow-up. Right? Because you can't just learn everything in 60 seconds about a person. Right? You may not want to help. So now you're going to do the follow-up. Right?
Yes,
ma'am. Some relationships, you got to spend some time together. We go together now. Or what you guys could do is do the scan code on your phone and use your scan code to do the contact. You know, I'm just saying. I know Pastor Marcus is Mr. IT. You got this. Or you could just do calendar requests. I'm not, I don't know. Send me a calendar request, so use Calendly. Y'all got it? Y'all got it? Y'all got the calendar set up?
So my name is scan code. Yeah. You have your scan code.
It's back there in the back. There's some cake.
Toast.
Oh.
That's all I had. That's all I had.
I'm feeling a deficit. But isn't that how millionaires are made? You need to talk to somebody. You're so busy being in your corner, not talking to anybody because you've arrived for whatever reason. I'm not clicking. Why am I not clicking? Because we have not arrived. I don't know. I'm frozen. So, but that's what we do. You need to learn how to meet people. Find out what they do. You'll find out that you may have a similar interest. Or they could be the connector piece to what you need. Mm-hmm. Right? But you'll never know if you're in your corner. I'm an introvert. I don't like talking to people. You're a business owner. Right. You're your own best commercial. And all you need is some good spit. Didn't cost you nothing, right? Mm-hmm. What did it cost you? Then now you may have help to do what you said you needed help doing, which probably was one of the fears or the prohibitors that was preventing you from moving forward. You never know. I talk to everybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what color you are, how tall, how short, how fat, how skinny. It doesn't matter. Because I am genuinely interested to know what you do and what I can do to help you. Or what you can do to help me. I need help. Don't you see all this stuff I got to do? That God had told me I got to do these monthly brunches and stuff. It's a lot of work. I got to talk to people. That's a lot of work. Don't you think we need help? We always need help. And you never know unless you talk to people. You never know. And what I don't like are used car sales. Just buy from me, buy. That's why I'm like, hey, it's got to be an exchange of information. You got to allow the other person to talk too. It ain't always about you. My days are Tuesdays and Thursdays. Right? So it's not always about you. And relational currency is always about the other person. It's never about you. But it's how do you build those relationships? Because you have to build, which means we got to spend some time together. That's how we go together now. Right? We got to spend time. I got to follow up with you, see how you're doing, how is everything going? Did you get the information I sent you? Did they do what they said they was going to do when they said it? So now that's how we're building relationships. Not that you owe me anything back, maybe thank you, but we're in a relationship. So when I'm in your town, bring some cake. I mean, I'm just saying. Right? But that's what we need to do, and that's how we build relational currency. Wasn't that a fun exercise? Y'all thought y'all was going to sit down and look at me? No. So now that my PowerPoint is stuck and I don't know why, maybe I need to just introduce the next speaker. How about that? And I can get somewhere and sit down. Maybe that was a sign. They say, you've been talking way too long. Right? Right? So I want to bring up Dr. Sharice Bradford. Maybe because our names are the same. I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't know. Maybe because she has dimples and I don't have dimples. And I think people that have dimples they're like drop dead gorgeous to me. Maybe that's it. Maybe because she's smarter than me. That's probably why she come here and sit next to me to give y'all the illusion that I'm smart too. So I want to bring up Dr. Sharice Bradford.
Good morning, everyone. I don't. So first of all, I want to thank Dr. Cassandra for having me. I am excited to be here and be in my hometown and be able to present. And Dr. Cassandra says so much that goes right along with my little Easter speech that I prepared for today. But before I get into it, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about me. So my name is Dr. Sharice Bradford. I'm a native of Chicago, Illinois. I am a relational trauma recovery coach. And so that sounds like a whole lot, but I'm going to break it down for you. Essentially, everything we do is in relationship. Either on our jobs, in our personal lives, we have relationships. And at some point, there are breakdowns in those relationships. It could be something as traumatic as being molested or raped, or going through a divorce, or the loss of a loved one, or it could be something that's not that traumatic, but it could be a layoff from a job. And so basically, as a relational trauma recovery coach, I help you navigate your way through those relationships. I offer one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching. I also have a personalized relational recovery roadmap that I work with a person one-on-one. I prepare a roadmap for you to get from where you are to where you want to be. And that's for clients who may not be looking for a long-term coach or therapist, but someone to just help them get through the slump or get over the hump. I have a doctorate in counseling psychology, so I don't come at this lightly. I've done the work, a lot of it. I also have a Master's of Divinity from Virginia University. I have a certificate in health policy and administration, so I spent the last 13 years of my life in healthcare administration, and I can administrate anything. I spent a lot of that time taking programs that were in disrepair in hospital settings and getting them back structured. So I did everything from managed nursing to I worked with patients with sickle cell anemia. If any of you all are familiar and know someone who has been affected with sickle cell anemia, so it disproportionately affects African Americans. So I worked in a very busy, fast-paced clinic, one of the largest clinics in the United States, actually, located here in Chicago. I did that for 13 years. And last year I decided that it was time to go, and that I wanted to work for myself, and I wanted to do my own thing. And after contemplating leaving actually for about 3 years, once I finally finished my doctoral program, I'm like, I'm sitting here making all this money for these people at this hospital, and I'm not being recognized for it. I can do this job in my sleep. I'm not being challenged. It's got to be something more for me. So I decided to step out. Fortunately, I guess, I was very good at what I did. So one of the doctors that I work with decided, hey, could you come back and work for me part-time, just a little bit? And it was very complimentary to what I wanted to do. So I do work part-time on the hours that I choose, on the days that I choose. And so I love that. So I love that freedom. And that's my background. And what I want to talk to you guys about today is living the life you deserve. Because so many of us live lives that other people want us to live. We make our choices and decisions based on how to make mama happy, daddy happy, spouse happy, kids happy. We worry about everybody else other than ourselves. And then we wake up one day, or we don't wake up one day, and there's nothing left. We never had a chance to do any of the things we wanted to do. And so my talk for you today is just a little bit on how to start that road to getting to living the life that you deserve. Because we all deserve to live the lives that we want. And if there are any people of faith in here, I told you guys I went to seminary, but I'm not going to preach. But I do have that background. And so the Bible says that we're supposed to have life and have it what? More abundantly. But we can't live an authentic, abundant life if we're living somebody else's life. Okay? So, I am a big fan of music. I love music. I love all types of music. Country, gospel, rhythm and blues, old school. And Kelly Price has a song called It's My Time. And in her song, she says, it's my time to rise. It's my time to shine. It's my time to live. It's my time to fly. It's my time. And I think if we all had that idea in our heads as we started our days, it would make us so much more happy people. Have you all encountered people that are just never happy?
Yeah.
All right. So a part of that is knowing that it's your time. And Kelly can sing it. I can stand before you and tell it to you till you're blue in the face. But the reality is that you have to do something about it. You have to make that choice that it's your time. You have to make that choice that it's up to you to make those changes. And so, you know, a lot of times we live based on what other people want for us, what other people think for us, what other people think about us. We don't do it because maybe we didn't finish school, and for whatever reason you may have dropped out. For whatever reason you didn't get that diploma or that degree. You don't feel like you can compete because everybody around you has the things that you feel that you don't have. Or maybe there's someone around you in your inner circle who keeps telling you that your dreams are crazy, that they're impossible, and that this life that you have created in your head is unrealistic, is impractical, and downright crazy. So has anyone in here had any type of crazy dreams? And even to yourself, you was like, man, where did this come from?
That's so crazy.
But sometimes it's the people around us that tell us, girl, no. You just need to keep on. In my family, it was, you gonna leave your good government job? Yes. I left two of them. I worked for the federal government, and I worked for the state government. And I walked away from both of them. So, yes, you can. Or maybe you put your dream on hold. Maybe it was that your spouse wanted to get a degree and you wanted to be supportive. And so you decided that you would wait. Or maybe you wanted to get your child through college. Or maybe the roles changed. And so now you're caring for an aging parent. Or something that just made you put your dream on hold. And maybe you joined the What If Club. And I'm sure we have all took a little spin around the What If Club. What if I fail? What if I run out of money? What if it doesn't work? What if this dream is really crazy? What if? What if? Now, we're all adults in here, so I can share this with you. And this is something that I tell people all the time. If it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So, and for those of y'all that don't drink, I'm sorry. Or have never drank. And I'm not telling them myself. But maybe you have your own reasons why you haven't stepped up and stepped out yet. Whatever the reason is, I want to encourage you today that it's your time and that you can live the life you deserve. So I'm sure everyone in here hopefully has driven a car, been in a car. And so we all kind of know who Henry Ford is. He's the automotive pioneer. And he says whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And so if you've convinced yourself that you don't have what it takes, if you've convinced yourself that your dreams are foolish and unworthy or unrealistic, the truth of the matter is you're right. But we all must do, and myself is included, we have to change the way we think about things. We have to be realistic about what we want. You are absolutely worthy of whatever it is in life you want to achieve. And the reality is that there is someone somewhere waiting for you to step up and help them. There's someone who's also waiting on your testimony. There's someone who wants to hear your struggle, which will make their struggle a little less harsh. So I ask you right now, what are you waiting for? What is holding you back? And how are you holding yourself back? And more importantly, why are you holding yourself back? See, the difference between those of us that you see presenting here and those people that we admire, the Oprahs, the Iyanla Van Zants, the Beyoncés of the world, and I am a big Beyonce fan, so you may hear her more than once a year, is that they believed in themselves. Maybe not at first, and maybe not, along the journey. They may have had some doubts. I'm sure it took a lot of courage for Oprah to come out on stage with that wagon of fat. And I might be dating myself because everybody here might not remember that. But it took a lot of courage to do that. But they believed that there was something bigger, something better, and something brighter up ahead. Did it happen overnight? No. Did they always feel that way? No. Were there obstacles and fears to overcome? Absolutely. Were there challenges and those who said they couldn't, wouldn't, or shouldn't? Yes. Did life happen on their way to achieving their dreams and goals? How many of us got sidetracked on our way to achieve our dreams by life? Whatever life was. And so, don't get sidetracked by that. Saying yes to yourself sometimes means you have to say no to the people, places, and things that no longer serve you. And there's nothing wrong with that. So again, I ask you today, what are you going to do about it? What's holding you back? Once you sit down and really decide that you will be relentless in the pursuit of your dreams, what is there to stop you? Nothing. So don't allow the what ifs of time, money, access, or opportunity to rob you once you make up your mind what you desire. And Dr. Cassandra definitely talked about the opportunity. It's there. And surely you don't want to allow where you came from to prevent or discourage you from where you're going. And so I'm going to share a story with you about a young girl born to teenage parents. She was primarily raised by her maternal grandmother. And after raising 4 children, her grandmother found herself in her 40s and a grandmother. The young girl, the granddaughter, came of age, seeing the people in her family succumb to the effects of alcoholism and drug addiction. By the time she was 10, the young woman had been molested. The odds were stacked against her, and it seemed that she was destined to repeat the cycles that she had witnessed all around her. As you can imagine, growing up, this young lady made some bad choices. However, she was determined to succeed not because of the hard lessons, but in spite of those lessons. This young lady persevered, she worked hard, she earned 4 degrees, and had several successful careers. She turned her trials and tribulations into triumph and testimony. Though she heard repeatedly that she was going to end up a teenage parent like her mother, that never happened. While she could have easily taken the route of alcoholism and substance abuse, she chose to work hard and let her successes speak louder than her failures or her family circumstances. There were many times along the way that the people around her, the people that were supposed to love, nurture, and care for her the most, turned out to be the ones that delivered the greatest heartaches, frustrations, and failures. In a society where we are taught to honor our elders, where is the honor for a child who ages well before her time and who has to become her own elder, her own moral compass, and her own cheerleader? How easy it would have been for her to give up, stop dreaming, take care of everyone else, who, mind you, were not taking care of themselves, and throw her dreams and her future away. How easy would it have been for this girl to just become another statistic and a sad story about a child from the south side of Chicago? However, today, as I said, that young lady has 4 earned degrees. She has worked as an immigration officer for the federal government and in healthcare administration for the state government. She has spent years counseling others, and she made a guest appearance today to remind you that nothing can stand in your way if you don't let it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you me. Yes, I was that child. I grew up before my time and well before I should have. However, no matter what, I was determined that I would not follow the patterns and the lives that I saw daily. And people would ask me, you know, what's your motivation? I don't want to be like my parents. And it wasn't something that I wanted to say, but it was necessary because I did. And my desire to succeed was so much stronger than the circumstances around me that dictated that I would fail. I was determined not to fail. However, it took me years before I realized that I could live the life that I deserved. You see, despite everything that I had accomplished, there was still a large part of me that felt like I did not deserve better because of where I came from and the mistakes that I had made along the way. I was my own worst critic and at times my own worst enemy. Surely I wasn't worthy. I had 2 parents on drugs. I was raised by a functional alcoholic, and most of the people in my family were battling drug addiction. What made me special? What made me different? Even people in my family talked about me and made fun of my desire to go to school, my choices of where I live, and I was the bougie cousin. I was the one who had all of this education. So for a while I tried to fit in. I made choices and decisions that were not really about what I wanted, but about proving to my relatives that we were all raised in the same house and I was just like they were, even though that was a lie, because I'm not. And one day my eyes opened. And true, there were moments when I felt like maybe I should, but no, I wasn't being true to myself. I was an individual, and I had to realize that my choices and my decisions mattered, and that my life was basically my business and no one else's. There is a method to realizing and owning the fact that you can and should live the life you deserve. It took a while, but I finally figured that thing out. So, really quickly, I'm going to share with you guys some tips on how I got there. So my first piece of advice is to find out who you are. Not the one that other people think you should be. The you that makes you happy. Any expert will tell you happiness is an inside job. Nothing outside of you can make you happy. And definitely no other person can make you happy until you know what happiness is for yourself. And I'm sure we've all heard the analogy, you can't put lipstick on a pig. So this is why so many relationships fail, why marriages end, why people look to things outside of themselves for happiness, because it's a job that only you can fill. How might you do this, I ask? Let me help you. According to Ernest Holmes, and I'm a very big fan of Ernest Holmes, he writes some excellent books. He has a book called This Thing Called You. And in it he says,
and so we got calls, which I turned off my phone, because they're like, well, I think it's too early. But but you knew the time. I think it's too early to be there. It's Saturday. I make sure around lunchtime. Who's speaking at lunch? I'm like, I don't give out that information. As a matter of fact, I didn't tell my speakers when they were speaking till this morning. Because I believe that they all have value. And so for me to say, well, Pastor Mark is speaking at lunch, well, I'm only going to come at lunch to hear him. Well, I think, no, that doesn't work like that. But what we do is we allow fear to get in the way of whatever. Fear comes in so many different forms. We make excuse, it's money, or I'm not smart enough, I don't have degrees, I didn't go to school, I didn't finish school, I got a GED, I got a ABC. You know how we do with these alphabets, right? And if you know, I don't put in, my name is long. My first name has 9 letters. So if I go put an MS, PhD, all these other, designations, you're like, oh my God, when does it stop? You need to, run out of ink. So we use all of these prohibitors, thank you, Pastor Marcus, I don't know, to stop us from doing whatever it is that God has already called us to do. Whatever it is that your purpose, whatever it is that you want, what is it that you want to do, and why aren't you doing it? Well, I got small kids. I had small kids. I don't have any money. Well, there it is. I didn't have any either. I was in debt. Didn't I tell you I had to sell a house to pay off all them student loans? As a matter of fact, you say school, I start itching. Right? You gonna go back to school for what? No. No, I'm tired. I still have licenses that I have to renew, and I'm grandfathered in I'm 27. But that's still money. We have so many excuses or fears or whatever you want to label it that is preventing you from doing whatever it is you say you want to do. I'm going to lose weight. I need to lose weight. Well, but I like chicken. I just can't give up the chicken like that. Right? Really, come on, let's just be real. I want to go on vacation, but I'm scared to fly. If it's your time to go, it's your time to go. Yeah. Maybe you sit next to me, because God already told me I was going to fulfill my purpose. You may want to invite me. Pay for me to come. Right? But what are and so Dr. Bradford was talking about those prohibitors that are stopping you from doing what you want to do. But you're in a room full of encouragers. Mm-hmm. And as women, we have to be encouraged all the time and told we look pretty and we got it and you can do it. We're going to make it. Okay, so we did you going to make it, girl. You got it. Today's your day. Okay, so you got it. So now what? Now what is it? Because I'm going to tell you something. As an entrepreneur, we don't have a cheerleader that when Oprah was on when it was Fat Oprah, remember Fat Oprah? And she had she did, I used to watch Oprah. And so she had a coach that she tell her, get up, you can do it, today's your day, up, 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 up. Y'all remember that? Mm-hmm. Well, we don't have that as entrepreneurs. You don't have nobody that's going to say, hey, today's your day, get up, you're going to make $1 million, you're going to meet 5 people, and all of them going to buy your products. Today, get up. We don't have that. So you have to be your own cheerleader. And if you have to record yourself saying it, maybe you need to record yourself to say that you are first, you are chosen. You're God's favorite too. It ain't just me. I ain't going to be up there by myself. Right? So what is it? What will it take to get you? It ain't my time to speak. Why am I up here? What will it take? It's the Holy Spirit telling you. I'm a cheerleader. I wanted to be a cheerleader. I just couldn't do that back all the way. I could go, I was fast child. So anyway, I'm going to bring up our next speaker. Oh my gosh, she wrote a book called Standing on Sinking Sand. come on up here, girl, introduce yourself. I said, I like to introduce people. You can do a better. I ain't nobody introduce me. I know who I is. I ain't got to conjugate my verbs out. We family now. I told y'all I was a crash test dummy, so, I put my business out there first. Now I already got issues. So you got issues, I got issues. I think we related. So when we over and you got cake at your house, I'll be, don't worry about it. I'm going to eat all over that shit. So come on, Stephanie. Stephanie's going to wow y'all. Did I say wow? I sound like from Texas. Yeah. I'm originally from Illinois. I had pizza last night. I'm getting some Harold's chicken.
Well, thank you so much for having me here today. Like Dr. Cassandra said, I'm Stephanie Womack. I'm a wife, mother, daughter, public health professional, and business owner. I'm all those things. And I'm just like on fire because the room, the synergy of like what everyone is talking about, it's just a reminder that when you walk in purpose, things will absolutely align. And that's what fills me up inside. It's got me feeling like, ooh, I might need to run. So I'm glad that I am before the pastor. I'm thankful for that. So if I do run, I don't have to come back. But I wanted to really talk about being, first off, obedient and the power of obedience, because I was one, and Dr. Cassandra talked about it, and Dr. Sharice talked about it. Oh, the doctor's in the room. I do feel smarter too. About when you're not honest with yourself, when you don't answer the call, right? When you know there's a calling on you to do something more, to do something greater, but you can't stand in that because of fear. And a lot of my work is around helping women overcome fear on purpose. Because a lot of those fears, which we don't understand, it's not really our own, it's passed down. It's projections, right? It's what everybody else says, that sounds crazy. Why would you leave that good job? Why would you do that? Start a business. Like, why would you do that? That sounds crazy. You don't have any money. You don't have this. You have a family. All of those things are projections, and we have to be able to filter between what's real and what's ours and what's somebody else's. So I'm thankful that we've been talking about that, and want to kind of reiterate the fact that obedience is important when you have a call. And I know because I ran and ran and ran. When God was telling me I was in the middle of depression and trying to figure out, God, what is it that you want me to do with my life? Because I've done all the stuff that society has told me to do. I went to school. I've got a degree, 2 degrees. I've got, family. I've got this job that I hate. So what is it? What more can I do? What is it that will keep me from taking my own life? Lord, please tell me what it is. And I did all these things outside of myself. I tried this thing, I tried that thing, trying to attach to other people and things to figure out what is it that I can do. And then I can still remember when God so clearly spoke to me, and he just said, it's you. And I was like, it's me? What does that mean? And it's like, it's you. You are the answer to your problem. And that meant like, okay, so I have to put myself out there. I have to do this stuff that I don't want to do. Like, that's not for me. I'm arguing with God now, right? It's like he answered the prayer, and it's like, no, that ain't for me. You're not talking to me. Wrong prayer. Wrong prayer answered. Wrong person. Got your wires crossed there. So we do that. We argue with God, right? When he tells us exactly what we need to hear and what to do, but then we start arguing and we exercise that disobedience. And that's why even when I knew what the answer was, I still continued to struggle because I wasn't being obedient. So that's something that I wanted to bring to the front of the talk. And that wasn't in my notes. I was just kind of like, wow, that's the energy that's moving in the room. So I just wanted to share my story about that. But one of the things that I'm really just honored and privileged to be here, to be a part of the exchange today, because that's really why we are here. We're here, the part of the conference and the theme is about how are we thinking about ourselves in relation to others? How are we building and banking on that relational currency? So I think and believe that we're all here and actively trying to build our own ecosystems, right? Ones that can support our growth and development. You remember learning about ecosystems? I mean, I had to go back, so it's okay. I was like, I know kind of what I think I'm saying, but I need to go back. So when I was going back and trying to read and re-educate myself, remind myself about the complexities of ecosystems, how they work, what's involved, I was reminded of the fact that in an ecosystem, there's energy and matter conserved, which means they're neither created nor destroyed. So matter is recycled and energy flows through the system and they work together and to support all of the things that live and work and play in the ecosystem, right? So I started thinking about this idea of matter being recycled, and what that means in the natural ecosystem is that atoms are, used over and over again, and they start to compound and take different forms and to go into different organisms and all of that. It's really complex science stuff. And I was like, well, what if we challenged ourselves to think about matter? We interchange that word with matter, the things that go in, with words like experiences, life experiences, our interactions, our exchanges, our relationships. What are we putting in to our relationships that really make them meaningful, make them powerful and transformative even? So I was like, okay, that's in my spirit. I'm dealing with how to talk about that. Then I go back to the idea of energy. Okay, energy flows through it. Energy in the ecosystem, that's what gives everything the power to do what it needs to do. And we also know that energy can be a positive spiritual force. So then I'm like, all right, it's coming together. So I'm really excited about, how energy works in the ecosystem as it comes in as light and exits as heat, and that just keeps going. That energy just flows through. And when you think about spiritual energy, your light, the power that you bring, and making that connection to ourselves, I'm like, all right, so it's starting to fit together. It's starting to really fit together. And we can make these connections. And one thing that we know about energy, though, is no matter if you're looking at it the natural sense, spiritual sense, it can be transferred. So you have a lot of power with the energy that you bring to the spaces that you occupy. One of the things that I remembered and relearned in my research is that ecosystems they're dynamic systems, and they really do depend on diversity. So you can't just have one thing and it won't survive there by itself. So you've got to have a diverse group of contributors, right? For everything to work together as it should, for the matter to come in, the energy to come in, and everything works together for the good. And if an ecosystem is not diverse, it's said to be static. And a static ecosystem is said to be dead, so you don't want to be there. So, so we have to ask ourselves, my talk would be full of kind of thought-provoking questions. We have to ask ourselves, are you in a static ecosystem? Are you in a static ecosystem? It doesn't matter why you may be, stuck in a system that doesn't serve you well. What does matter is that you know that you have the ability to change that situation. You have the ability to come up out of that thing. You have the ability to break apart from the things that no longer serve you and spend some time with self and really start to build an ecosystem that is beneficial, mutually beneficial, right? So one of the things I talk about in my book and in my work is the power of isolation. And I absolutely believe that isolation, being with yourself, being with your own thoughts, being with your ideas, is important for personal development work, for, absolutely knowing, okay, here is what I want for myself, for my life, for my business, whatever it is that you need some clarity on. I believe in isolation. And in terms of today, I want to talk about how we can use this, how we need to think about isolation as success-driven people, as entrepreneurs, as people who, we're the crazy ones. How do we use that isolation for good in terms of the ecosystem? So I started reading about isolated ecosystems, and I was like, oh, okay, what's this about? So isolated ecosystems are those that come about over time because they have a unique set of conditions or surroundings. And the things that live within those conditions and surroundings, they learn to adapt to those surroundings, to those conditions, so that they can survive, so they can become resilient, so they can resist disturbances and distractions that come up. And I started to think about this from an entrepreneurial perspective, and really, isolation is the entrepreneur's game, right? Because we're used to being by ourselves. We're used to trying to figure things out. We're used to everybody saying, "You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. You can't do that. You can't do this." So we're used to people not knowing how to be around us. So we're comfortable in that space, right? We're comfortable saying, "You know what? I know I got to figure this out on my own. And then if I do have somebody to help me, I'm going to have to help them too because they can't do it like I can." So we're used to that. So I wanted to challenge that idea of, being comfortable with the isolation, but how do you transfer the isolation into something that's meaningful and that's mutual for the entire ecosystem at play here? And, when I talk to folks about isolation, I'm like, you're going to be okay. Jesus spent time in isolation. So you're good. You're good. If he can do it, you definitely can do it. So the thing is that there's a purpose, right? There's a purpose, an intention behind isolation, the time spent in the wilderness. But he knew he couldn't stay there, right? The purpose was never to stay in the wilderness. The purpose was always to emerge, right? And to spread the wings, spread the gospel, spread whatever the message was that came from that. And that's what we've got to do too. We've got to be comfortable coming out of our isolation and not just being there because we're scared. We're scared to reach out. And Dr. Cassandra was on my toes when she was like, "I'm an introvert, that's me." I was like, "That's me." But we've got to learn how to step out of that fear on purpose, because it can be overwhelming. It can, our brains are wired to keep us safe. So anything that feels unsafe, mentally, emotionally, even if it's not real, our brains, that part of our brain, the oldest part of our brains, is still wired that way, and it can't tell the difference between real or perceived. So we have to be intentional about overcoming those things. So that is one of the things that I wanted to talk about as far as the isolated ecosystem, and thinking about entrepreneurs and how entrepreneurs can be an isolated ecosystem. We've already started to talk about this because we understand as entrepreneurs, as success-driven people, we understand being alone. But how do we start to build the relational currency with each other? How do we start to use each other's matter, those relationships, those interactions, those experiences, and matching with their energy? How do we start to bring those things together? Because It's not going to be created or destroyed. It already exists. It already exists. So what we have to do is be intentional about aligning with each other, about figuring out who needs to do what, when, and where, and how do we create the ecosystem that supports that. How do we turn the isolation into the circulation that we know will naturally occur if we exude the energy and we are serious about how we interact with each other and how we let those interactions impact us. And how do we allow the ecosystem, the isolation of the ecosystem of being an entrepreneur, how do we then make that become an incubator, right? An incubator that supports us, that aids us in our growth and our development, right? That's what the relational currency is about. That's what it's about. It's about making those connections about who is going to be able to do what to serve me in this stage, in this project, and whatever, this idea, whatever it is that you have that comes up, and you know, you're an entrepreneur, or you're a success-driven person, ideas come out of the woodwork, and you want to do this and do that, and then sometimes you have to kind of slow yourself down and be like, okay, I need to find some focus here and go down this path, and who can help me with this? And you have to be able to know your strengths and weaknesses, to be able to know what you need, right? And to be able to know also what you can give and what value you bring to the table. You have to be able to pivot. And when you can pivot, you can see things from a different perspective. That's what the pivot does. The pivot allows you to see a different viewpoint. And with a different set of lenses, you can make a different set of decisions. And that's what life is really about. It's not a set of circumstances. Life is not a set of circumstances. It is a set of decisions. Even if they're not your own decisions, that it's a collection of decisions. And your superpower, this is what I tell my clients, your superpower is that you have the ability to choose. You always have the ability to choose. So you can choose if you want to stay in isolation, you want to stay in fear, you want to stay in the wilderness and not, connect with the ecosystem that you know you need. Or you can choose to emerge. You can choose to stand in your power. You can choose to come up out of that, whatever it is that you're dealing with, you're feeling. Because feelings aren't facts, right? They're just feelings. You can feel something for a moment, but that doesn't mean that's what you are, that's who you are. And you can acknowledge your feelings. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to experience, happiness and all of these things, but you cannot stay in a place that doesn't serve you for too long. Because misery likes company, right? Yeah. So when you start to stay in a place, and I'm staying in this scared space, like you said, what you feed will grow, so people will start to flock and feed that. Like, oh yeah, girl, you don't have to do that. You was right. Just stay where you are and stay doing what you're doing. And it's like, oh no, you need to have enough clarity about what you want, who you are, to know that this is not for me. I need to step up out of this, because this is not who I am. These are just feelings. They aren't facts. So we've got to recognize the value that we bring to the table when it comes to relational currency. And sometimes you may think, oh, I don't have anything to give. I don't have any more to give. I'm already stretched too thin. But no matter what it is, it's your time, your creativity, and your ideas. That's your value. And you cannot let other people rob you of your value without it being mutually beneficial. And that's part of the ecosystem and the power of the ecosystem. And you really do have to understand that the ecosystem, at least the entrepreneurial ecosystem that I am thinking about, that I am hoping that we can cultivate, is really designed to be a network of support, of coaches, role models, people that really can help push you to the next level, push you to where you need to go, push you to where you want to be. And I talk about this in my book, Standing on Sinking Sand, and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the push analysis that I wrote about in my book. So PUSH is an acronym. The letters are passion, understand, sell, and how. But we talk about the 4 P's, and I'm going to go through them, and then you can see what I'm talking about. So passion, the key questions for this. Passion, what are the things that you could or would do every day for free? So we talked about that, right? So that's, where's the passion? What's the purpose behind this project, this idea? Products. What products or services can you create related to your passion that you can get paid for? That's the key, understanding the money, right? What can you get paid for? And what are people, this is the next one, who would be your ideal client and audience for those products and services and can pay? Right? And then process. Who does what you want to do? What systems do they have in place that you can learn from about the process? So that's what your incubator, the incubator for the ecosystem should be able to help you answer some of these questions or guide you. Once you do it for yourself and you see where the strengths are, where the gaps are, this is when you can reach out. You can utilize your relational currency to say, I need some help to understand what I'm going to sell. How can I package this where I'm not, selling all of my time for just a little bit of money? How can I make this a bigger program to serve more people? How can I, who's going to buy this? I need to know exactly who that person is so that I can tailor every single thing that I write, say, and do to speak directly to that person so they know when they hear the message in the audience, on the Facebook feed, wherever it is, that it's for them. And that's part of what the networking and the coaching and the role modeling is about, that I hope to create in the ecosystem. And to know that, you have somebody cheering for you. We don't always have our cheerleaders unless we're intentional about building the relationships. Yet there's not going to be anyone that's going to probably volunteer to say, go quit your job, go do this, go do that. Especially if it's somebody who hasn't done it before and they're scared out of their minds, and then they're scared for you, so it's like they're not going to be your cheerleader. And we know this. It's like, your friends and your family, when you launch a business or you're trying to do something, they support, but then it's like they're not the first ones to buy stuff, right? Right. And you can't take that personal, because you have to know that that's not the person you're talking to. They're buying your stuff because they love you, not because they need you. Right? So that's what we have to understand who our people are. Because, and I have this in my book too, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're so aligned, that there is somebody praying for you right now. They're praying for you to step into your purpose. They're praying for your service, whatever it is you were created to do, to serve. They're praying for that exact thing right now. So you cannot be afraid. You cannot live in fear. You've got to step out of that and know that you are different. You are not meant to sustain mediocrity. That's just it. That's just it. If you're in this room, you know that you are not meant to just stay at status quo. And when you know that, you can operate from a place of no. And when you know what you know, you know how to show up. You know how to show up in your rooms. You know how to show up in your spaces. You know how to take up space and also serve the people that need to be served. And that's that thing about purpose. When it gets up on you and you can't get it off unless you're being disobedient, and you will know when you're being disobedient. So the push analysis is something that, the ecosystem really should support you in going through that process. And the ecosystem for entrepreneurs, there really is and should be a layer of accountability as well. you have to find someone other than yourself to be accountable to. And you know, your people will keep you accountable too. Once they show up and they buy into you and they have the relationship, they will keep you accountable, especially if you are serving them and serving them well. But it's important for entrepreneurs, I believe, to have a level of accountability. And I always say when I'm working with my clients, I would not be where I am if it wasn't for somebody who was rooting for me, who was keeping me accountable, who was making sure that, okay, you said that you wanted to do this, we made a plan, okay, where are you? And it's like, okay, like, and I knew when I had that person that I needed to get my stuff done. I couldn't go hide in the closet like I wanted to, you know? So I had to show up. I had to show up for myself, I had to show up for my clients, and I had to show up for my coach. Like, I want to be a good student. So I've always been a good student, so I still wanted to do that. So I definitely believe that accountability is one of the keys to success. I'm trying to run through my notes here. So one of the things that I need to run back to, because I don't know where I'm at time, because I know I've been talking fast. One of the things that I did want to go back to is about habits. When you are working with a set of entrepreneurs that can create, you know, the ecosystem for you, that can really be the incubator, you should start to pick up on some of those habits, right? That's part of the relational, that's part of the relational exchange. Like, oh, they do this. I need to implement that system. Or they don't do that. I probably need to cut back on all the time that I spend scrolling through social media. Or I need to read more books or whatever it is. And sometimes I think, you know, habits are really, really important. And we can be slaves to habits created out of fear, you know. And habits themselves, like if you're like a nail biter or you grind your teeth or something, like, you know, the habits themselves are not bad. But it's when you compound those habits over time that they start to impact the outcomes. So it's like you go to the gym, you know, if it's only for a half hour, but you do it consistently, you will yield results. If you work on your business or your idea, even if it's just for a few minutes, but you do it consistently, you will yield results. If you continue to neglect yourself, you will yield those results. If you continue to procrastinate, you will yield those results. So you've got to think about what are the habits that I'm creating for success or not to support my success. Last thing that I wanted to talk about, which Dr. Cassandra talked about as well, is tithing. And tithing is not always about money. I talk about this in my book. And it's, you know, we have come to know money as kind of the only thing that matters as a measure of success. But we're talking about, you know, it's the currency of the time. Paper money, plastic money is the currency of the times. But when we think about relational currency, we need to think about tithing through a different lens, right? We can tithe through our time, we can tithe through our talents, and we can tithe through our treasures. What can we give of ourselves, of the things that we don't need? I'm preaching to my mom from far away. Like, girl, you need to clean this out, and myself, because I got a couple bags I need to get rid of. But you know, those are the things when you're feeling like you are so tight on money that you cannot breathe. That is usually an indicator that you need to give, even if it's not money. You need to give. When you are feeling like there is nothing more that I can do, that I can give, that's the indicator. You need to give. You need to release something so something can flow in to help support you in your time of need. So I talked about accountability as the number one thing. That's my secret sauce that I account for my success and where I am. And I do have... you know, my work is related to creating intentional and supportive environments for women to achieve their goals. And men, I see some men in the house. Hi, fellas. I do this through, conferences like this, through speaking, and through my books. But I also have a program, an accountability coaching program called PRESS. And it stands for Personal Responsibility Enhanced by Structured Support. So it is a structured accountability program where I work with clients where you get 2 1-hour strategy sessions, and you get weekly check-ins for 9 weeks. And it's really a program designed and informed by you. You're the success-driven individual, and it's a person that they know what they want, they know what they need. They're not dragging their feet. They just know that they need a little bit of help. They need a little bit of accountability. So that's what we do. We sit together, we make a plan and say, this is what you said. And it's like I talk and I listen. Well, I listen, you talk. And this is what you said you wanted to do. Here's the plan, and here's who's responsible for what. So we have that shared work plan, so we're accountable to each other. And then we have shared workspace. And we're able to really work on personal branding, really is a lot of the time. And personal branding starts on the inside, believe it or not, because it's how you show up. And if you don't feel good about how you show up, you don't believe in yourself, that's going to affect your personal brand, and that's going to affect your business and your bottom line. So PRESS is available to you.
Her book on about being on sinking sand, but I just want to acknowledge my cousins that just walked in the room. Man, I love my cousins. I haven't seen you guys in like years, huh? My cousin, they live here in Chicago. No, my brothers ain't got no money, so there it is right there. So, but my family, my friends are my family and my friends. They are not my clients and they're not my customers. Now, should they need my services, there is a fee. But they are not my clients. And so you have to learn how to put people in the boxes that they belong in. I grew up with brothers, right, and nephews and a daddy. So I learned how to put people in boxes where they belong. My family and my friends are my family and my friends. You know what I do. If you need me, call me. My clients are my clients, and I do baby my clients, and I serve my clients. And so, but what Stephanie said is that you have to learn that that's who they are. So when they don't buy from you, you're not to get upset with them, because they are your family and your friends. A lot of times our families are our number one killers, because they knew you back when. They knew you when you wasn't so smart. They knew you when you made all your mistakes, right? And they constantly remind you of that. I remember you was on drugs. Or I remember, I remember when you didn't have nothing, right? And then when you have something, they be the first one to ask you for something, right? Can I borrow that dollar out of 15 cents? But I just want the dollar part. So I want you guys, hey, we are still creating relational currency. We're going to get up, take a break, visit our vendors. We have people that have books here. I got books here. I have a book called 21 Ways to Create Relational Currency. And I would love to just bless somebody with this book. If anybody wants it, you can come up and ask for it. And so I want you guys to take a break. I want you to recharge, refuel. If you didn't get your calendar request in with the person that you met, make sure you get them on your calendar so you can do your follow-up. And then we're going to come back in 5.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Yeah, because if it's not in there, it's more than likely not happening. So people 24. Great job.
Speakers to talk to you guys. We're getting ready to move into our learning phase. Y'all been encouraged, right? Do I need to do like a rah-rah, shish, boom, bah for y'all? That is a chapter in one of my books, that we get ready to move into our learning phase. Y'all been encouraged, right? Do I need to do like a rah-rah, shish, boom, bah for y'all? That is a chapter in one of my books, that we need to learn how to be a cheerleader. It does say rah-rah, shish, boom. I wanted to be a cheerleader, remember I couldn't do the back bend all the way. Remember the back bend? I was a fat kid. It's a long story. But anyway, hence the cake every day. And she's looking at me like, no, I used to eat cake every day. I have my father loved cake. And my parents owned a large restaurant in East St. Louis, Illinois. That's exactly where I'm from. And so when we were little, my dad dressed up like Santa Claus. But every Christmas morning, my mom would yell at my dad for eating a slice out of each cake. And I'm going, no, Mom, it was Santa. It wasn't Daddy. It was Santa that would eat the cake. He would take a slice out of each of her cakes. So one year I decided to confront Santa for getting my dad in trouble. Now, I like you, Santa. I love Daddy. Like you, love Dad. And so I got ready to confront Santa. He was downstairs with a red Santa suit on, and it was my dad. And my dad said, how would you like to eat 6 slices of cake? I said, at one time? He said, yes. Y'all don't understand. That was love right there. That was love. That was love. So for 3 years, I got to eat 6 slices of cake on Christmas Eve. Until my, it's a long story. But that's how I fell in love with cake, because whatever my dad loved, I love. And then when I found out that my Heavenly Father loved cake, it's on the cracking. So I know that you guys are talking about when you get to heaven, how you going to skip on the streets of gold, but I just want to let you know there's no currency in heaven. But I do want to let you know that the aroma, the smell of cake is a sweet smell in the Lord's nostrils. So if you can get past Peter, who could possibly be my first cousin, because they said he had a sword or a switchblade. I don't know which version of the Bible you read. But if you get past him and make a quick right, that's where I'll be. I'll be at the cake table. But anyway, I want to introduce her. She's like, why y'all looking at? You can preach that on Sunday, Pastor Marcus and Pastor Ron, Pastor Noah. Y'all, I ain't got no trademarks on it, so So if I hear this story, I'll just give us some accolades. So our next speaker is Dr. Rowe. Dr. Rowe hails from St. Louis, Missouri, which is where we'll be on May 5th. And so she's going to come up here and, are you ready? I see you back there getting all glamorous. So you guys, I want you guys to welcome Dr. Rowe. She is like one of the smartest people in the room, so I'm going to stand next to her again to give you guys the illusion that I'm smart too. So her smartness is just going to, you guys have heard of transferring of spirits, transferring of smartness. So, I'm like, come on up, Dr. Rose. It's like y'all remember Spinks, right? Remember Spinks' cousin? When he was in his heyday, y'all people from St. Louis, y'all remember Spinks? When they asked Spinks, Spinks, what do you do on your off days? He said, I sit and I read the dictionary and look up big words that were used in interviews. So that's what I did. I have to look up these. So come on.
Everybody, please stand up. Music on. All we do is win. There we go. All right. And while you're standing, high five somebody and tell them they're awesome. And do it one more time and say, you're awesome too. To another person. Say, you're awesome too. All right, go ahead and have a seat for me, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Rowe. Full name, government name, I should say, is Dr. Anika Thomas. But a lot of people cannot pronounce my first name, so we just shorten that thing real quick to Dr. Rowe. And Dr. Rowe carries, and people remember that name, and I also love it. So Dr. Rowe for short. Now, do me a favor to get me pumped up. Say, go ahead and get it, Dr. Rowe.
Go ahead and get it, Dr. Rowe.
How you feeling? Excellent.
How you feeling?
I feel good. I'm looking good today. I'm feeling good, feeling fabulous, right? So I have to thank some people really quick. Dr. Cassandra in the back, thank you so much. She's coming to my hometown, as she mentioned, to St. Louis May the 5th, so we're going to really turn it up there. And also, I want to thank God, because without him, I am nothing, right? Mm-hmm. So thank him. And then I want to thank him for creating these two amazing people that also contributed to all of this awesome. My mom and my dad. My mom is an amazing woman, just I mean, from head to toe. She was a single mom, and she raised my sister and I. And I saw all of her hard work and dedication. And even as a single mom, you make so many sacrifices. And single dads as well, they make sacrifices for their kids. So I actually got a chance to witness that firsthand from her. And then I want to say thank you to my dad as well, because he wasn't in my life until I turned 18. But since coming into my life, he's been an amazing man, an amazing mentor as well, right? So we only get two parents, right? So we got to love them. No matter what the backstory was, we have to love and appreciate our parents. And then also, I want to give a special shout out to my 3 babies that keep me motivated. And those are my reasons why: Rhea, Malachi, and Riley. Okay, so being a single mom, I was married and ended up with a divorce. So being the single mom for the last 3 years has been awesome, but it also comes with trials and tribulations, right? But how many know when you have faith in God, he's going to send you somebody, right?
Yes.
Right? So, y'all see this amazing man back there that's recording me? Don't he look good? So, God has actually sent me my king, and I do appreciate him for coming and taking time out of his busy schedule. He's actually living in Atlanta, but he made time to come and spend some time with me in St. Louis and come and be a part of, you know, this traveling experience, talking and being able to just be me, you know. So when you have somebody that supports you, you get that support right back. So thank you for being here and being my rock on today, right? Let's give them a hand clap, you know. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys today about I Can, I Will, I Am. And that's actually a book that I wrote, and it'll be coming out on my birthday, August the 11th. I'm a Leo, right, Leo. Okay, so I'll be turning 35, and I know I don't look, he said 35, like what? So yes, I know I look young, and I'm really 35. It's on my ID and everything, driver's license. I always have to prove it, right? We was at the restaurant yesterday, and they were like, 35? I'm like, yeah, I'm seriously 35. But in that comes a lot of hard work and dedication, right? Because you could be 50 and not accomplish a lot of things. So age is really right. Aaliyah had it right. It's nothing but a number, right? So you can achieve and do a lot of things in your life, but don't put a limit on it because of your age, right? So with I Can, I Will, I Am, all of this skinniness wasn't just by Mother Nature. It's because I used to play soccer, right? And I used to run up and down the field, up and down the field. So it kept me in shape. But before I could get to that point where I could say that I was a full-fledged soccer player, I came up with some hurdles that got in my way, some mindset things that started to play with me, right? But how many people know what God has for you is what? For you, right? So it doesn't matter how you get there. It's just getting there is the final result that you're looking for. So I'm 16. I want to take you guys on a story with me, okay? Y'all gonna go? Y'all ready? Say, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, so here we go. We're at Hazelwood Central, right? This is a high school back in St. Louis, Missouri. And I'm 16. I'm ready to go. I got my soccer uniform on. I'm ready, right? And I'm walking down the hallways of school. And everybody's like, what you got on? Like, what is that? I got my shin guards. I'm ready to go out for soccer practice. And my friends was like, like, black girls don't play soccer? What are you doing? And that was the first time I had heard of it, because I'm like, I do play soccer. And I actually play soccer. So what are you talking about? And they're like, no, you got 3 sports that you play at this school. Track, basketball, and volleyball. Those were your options. Soccer was unheard of, you know. So at this point, it started to mess with my mindset, right? Because, you know, the devil tries to do 3 things, right? He comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but he gets in that mindset. So I was allowing him and work through my peers to tell me what I can't do. And so I'm walking around school, so that confidence level start to go down and down. The worse the day went, it was like, oh man. So they had me thinking that I couldn't play soccer anymore. Not because of my ability, but because of what they said. So I'm walking, confidence level coming down to a bare minimum. Soccer tryouts come. I'm sitting on the top of the hill, arms crossed like I ain't doing it. I'm not going to play soccer. And I'm looking at all the girls down there playing soccer and, you know, giving their best to try to make the team. And here I am, mad. For what? Sitting on a hill. For what? Not trying out. For what? So I had determined, I'm not going to do it. Got on the bus. Everybody's like, Nika. That's my nickname, right? And they're like, Nika, why are you not going to try out? And I said, I just don't want to. just don't want to. Got home, mom was all excited, like, baby, how was tryouts? And I said, I didn't try out. She said, say what? I didn't try out. But here's the good thing, God places good parents over your life, right? At least he did for me. And my mom poured seeds into me from a little bitty child, right? So from age 3, she always told me this thing. You can do all things through Christ that gives you strength, right? Philippians 4:13. And so I grew up listening and learning that at a young age. That's the same thing she told me when I sat down. She said, baby, you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. So why are you limiting yourself? Why are you going to let somebody else take what God gives to you and just take that out of you? That's your talent. That's your gift. And I'm thinking, like, man, they're going to talk about me, mama. Like, my reputation is everything. Like, peer pressure. That's what you go through in high school. You want to conform to what everybody else thinks that you should be, right? But she said, no, baby, you have to stand. Because if you don't stand today, you'll fall tomorrow. And when she said that, it resonated in me. It stirred everything back up. And I was like on fire. So I went back the next day. Went straight up to the coach. I was ready. I said, oh, no, I'm ready. He said, you know what? I saw you on the hill yesterday. And I was going to go up and tell you to come down and try out. But God told me, don't worry about it. She's going to be back. So while I'm sitting here trying to figure all of this thing out, God had already worked it out. He had already ordained my steps, right? So what you have to understand is that when God has something for you, that's just what it is. You can't, like she said, you can't run for me. You can try to run, but you can't run. And so I went down there and I gave it my all. I tried out. Not only did I make the freshman team, I made the junior varsity team as well. And so what I realized during that day is God was making me an example. I was an example to walk around my school as the first black girl that played soccer at the school. I was an example because now what was looked at as a black person, a white person's sport, was an all-color sport. I made a difference because now I'm able to walk around with a positive attitude saying that, yes, black girls do play soccer and we rock doing it. We're pretty awesome doing it. So never limit yourself and put limits on what you can do. And so also my mom always told me that since you're a black girl playing soccer, you have an advantage because there's not a lot of people like you doing what you're going to do. So scholarships will be following you. They'll come to find you. Keep getting good at what you do. That's your talent. And I said, man, Mom, you talk about a scholarship to college? Like, she put that in me. So I was walking around like I want to keep playing soccer so I can get a scholarship. Because I had goals from little bitty age. I had goals, right? So then that goal turned into a reality. Full ride, 4 years.
Right.
Won't he do it?
Yes, he will.
Won't he do it?
Yes,
So
he
that
will.
4-year scholarship, the money that she was going to pay for that, you know what she got me? A car. So now I'm riding clean in college and college scholarship paid for. So you cannot put a limit on what you can do. Okay? So with I can, I will, I am. I determined that I can do all things, not because I said so, but because God said so. So if he told me I can, why am I telling myself that I can't? Why am I allowing other people to say that I can't? No, it doesn't make sense. That's like Chewbacca. Y'all heard of that? Chewbacca. It don't make sense. So now you have to change your own mindset because you have the ability to change your mindset. Not my peers. They thought they did, but that's until I realized who my father is. Right? Not my biological. He good. He tell me all the time, baby, you my princess. But what he told me is what counts, right? So willpower is the next one. I will. Your willpower is everything. Now, a lot of people say that your reason why has to be so big. It has to be bigger than any mistake that you'll ever make in life. Any excuse that you can come up with. My babies are my reason why. Because even when I don't feel like getting up and going, I still have to do it. Because they like, Mama, we want some food. Mama, we need shoes, clothes. I'm thinking like, okay, I got 2 girls. Prom going to be coming up. And they, 6 and 8. I'm already thinking about the cost. I'm like, man, because you see these prom pictures now, they extravagant. I'm like, oh boy, that's like that when I went to prom. I'm like, man, come on. But your willpower is so strong. And you have to realize that you have the power to control your own thoughts. Okay? we don't give anybody else that permission to say what we can't do and put limits on you on purpose. Because you have people that'll do that. Like she said, I want to start a business. Why? It costs too much. You can't do that. All these lists of things that you can't do. So you have to challenge yourself to overcome it. So how do you challenge yourself with positive thoughts? How do you challenge yourself to get rid of the negative thoughts, right? So I came up with a thing called Channel with Denise. Now, Denise is my middle name. So this is what I do. My mom, when I was little, she always used to say, stop being so negative. It's like, she's like, go outside and play. I'll say, it's too hot outside to play. Go ride a bike. Well, bikes are dangerous. I had that, I would always come up with something real quick. I'm quick on my toes. And she always say, you a fast talker, a smooth talker. Those people that you can say something, they got a rebuttal like right away. They can think on their toes. So I was that person. So my mom used to say, channel with Denise. And I said, man. And she said in a stern voice, y'all mom can give you that look and they don't even have to say nothing to you. You know you need to straighten up immediately. So this is what you do when you have negative thoughts. Use your middle name or use the name that you know mama mean business or grandma or auntie so-and-so. You think of that person and you get yourself in order real quick. It's like a snapback, like immediately. It has to be just like that. You can't think about it. It's no wiggle room. There's no time in between. It's instantly, okay? So I didn't want to come to this conference because it's too early. Channel with Denise or channel with whatever your name you're going to put. Channel it. So how would I channel that? I don't want to come to the conference because it's too early. Channel it real quick. How could we channel it? What's a good reason to come to the conference? What's a good positive thing that you could say instead of that? Right. I can come to the college conference because I need this. I don't want to come to the conference. I woke up this morning. That's enough right there. You can put that behind any negative thought that you have in your life. I woke up this morning. Somebody didn't do that. That's an immediate challenge. So I go around and tell all these young kids, channel it, because they're so filled with negative things. They see this on television all the time. I have a TV in my house. It's not even plugged up. I gave TV up 3 years ago. I can't tell you what reality show on. I can't tell you none of those things because you got to get laser sharp focus on where you're trying to go and where God is trying to take you to. You don't have time to be worried about what the television shows are doing, because if you're not making that type of money and you're not living that lifestyle, then that's just false. It's not your reality. So you have to stand in your own reality and be willing to make the sacrifices to get to where you want to go. I'm sacrificing right now. I got a PhD degree. That bill, student loans. You talk about women on the run. I would take off running right now if I had my shoes to get away from the loans. But that's the thing. You put on your big girl drawers, your big, and you come to the table and you do what you have to do, right? So I am is the most powerful statements that we have. Anybody do affirmations in the morning? Okay, so I do a thing called mirror time, right? And mirror time, Naomi actually says she has some mirror time too. So mirror time is what I came up with. It's in the morning. Now everybody has it. Fellas, y'all even have mirror time too. Y'all might not know it yet, but y'all gonna find it. Wait a minute. Hold on real tight. So mirror time is when you get up in the morning, right? You on your way to the restroom. You about to brush your teeth or do whatever you need to do, right? As soon as you pop in the mirror, that's you. Unconditionally you. Without makeup. Eye boogers in your eye, snot, whatever you got going on. Stanky breath and all. But that's you, and you got to love yourself just that way. Because that's you in your natural state. And if you can't love you in your natural state, then that's a problem that you have to immediately fix, because we have to love ourselves before we can love anybody else. And if you're not loving the real you, who are you loving? The false you? No. We have to be real with ourselves in order to be real with somebody else. So I love all of this in the morning. I don't need all that tons of makeup, but if I have a TV show or I'm on, the news or something, I'll put it on because everybody likes to look beautiful, But in the rare form, I still love me just the same. Before I put on the clothes and before, the Dr. Rowe title comes, I still have to love that girl just the same, right? So it's about loving you and being true to who you are. Because everybody's phenomenal. I tell a lot of women, I do a women's conference too, have over 150 women there all the time. I tell them right away, you're phenomenal just the way you are. We don't raise all these things. Society has us all twisted up that we have to be all of these amazing things. No, you're amazing just the way you are. And you have to believe that. You have to take that to the bank because that's the check that will always cash. You are phenomenal. Me and y'all phenomenal too. I got a Magnificent Man conference back there. But y'all magnificent. We need y'all in our community. Y'all are loved and appreciated and needed. Period. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's time to take a stand in our communities. Whitney Houston had it right when she said the children are the future, but I think she had it wrong just a little bit. Now, I love Whitney. Y'all got some shower singers. I'll sing her some, I'll sing it in a minute in the shower, but not on nobody's stage. I ain't that good yet. But our children are our right now. They need us right now. So it's impossible to keep saying, oh, the children are the future. We got to do all these things in the future. What about our right now? It's kids that are suffering right now. So I challenged myself. I created a nonprofit 10 years ago. I'll be celebrating my 10-year anniversary coming up. And I challenged myself to be the difference I want to see. Because if I can't see it, how can I convince somebody else to see it? If I'm not making a difference, how can I ask you to make a difference? So be the difference that you want to see. Take a stand. That's all it takes is action. Action is needed now. Okay? So if you see somebody that's struggling, you see somebody that's hurting, it doesn't take much to be nice. That's all in your mindset. Getting your mindset to the next level. Somebody say next level.
Next level.
Because it's time. It's time to take ourselves to the next level. Whether that's finances, this is a year for transformation in every area. Health, people say, why are you skinny? Why are you working out at the gym? Because I want to live. Exercise is for everybody. Excuse me? You have to start exercising. We can eat cake. Hey, I love cake too. Chicken too. She talked to us about some chicken. If hot wings come up, I was like, man, I gotta go. Because she went down a whole list of chicken and it's coming. So just wait. But you have to take care of you and make you a priority. Okay? So I have this quote that I love, and I'm going to read it for you. And in my mirror time, I always pull this quote up. So it says, don't ever give up. Don't let frustrations knock you down. Don't let fear stand in your way. Don't let time get in your head. Who cares how long it takes or how many times you try? Your only competition is yourself. And when you finally succeed, guess what, y'all? It's going to be worth it. It will be. Say it's going to be worth it.
It's going to be worth it.
Because it is. So also, if you need 5 things to say to yourself during your mirror time. Number 1, I am the best.
I am the best.
There y'all go. I can do it.
I can do it.
God is always with me.
God is always with me.
I am a winner.
I am a winner.
And today is my day.
Today is my day.
Every day is your day. Don't let nobody tell you different. What? Every day, own that thing. Like, because tomorrow is not promised. So if you can't own your today, how are you going to look for tomorrow? When we don't know if we're going to have tomorrow. I'm seeing too many of my friends go. And they think they have tomorrow, and then I get a phone call in the middle of the night, or I see on Facebook that tomorrow never came for them. So I'm tired of waiting for my tomorrow. I want it now.
Right.
Give me my right now. I'm excited. Y'all excited?
Yes.
You got to get excited about your right now. What are you doing right now? I'm finna. What? I can't hang with our finna people because I'm okay, you finna write a book. I'm writing too. Well, catch up. No, I got 3 kids and I'm doing it. But I got a support system. So your circumstances does matter, and it does play a difference in how fast you can do it. But it doesn't matter if you, the question of if you can do it. Once you determine that you can, nobody can stop you. When I open up, I do nonprofit classes as well. When I open up for nonprofit class, I tell them immediately, stand up. Because it's our mindset. What you start off with is how it's going to end. I am unstoppable. What? Who going to stop me? Come on. What y'all want to do? Because my mindset already told me that nobody can stop me. So if I already told you that you're not going to stop, we're going to be going round for round. You're going to be really amazed. Because a lot of people say, Dr. Rowe, your resume is flawless, baby. What is it that you're not going to do? I don't know. My goals for the year be off the chain because I keep continuing to challenge myself. Somebody said, Dr. Rowe, you was in Africa for 2 weeks paid, hanging with the kings. You posted it on Facebook. Ooh, why not? Oh, she said I got to step back. But hanging with kings in Africa for 2 weeks was nothing but a blessing. And sometimes people get it twisted and they start talking about what they did. It's not what you did, it's what God did. So you always have to remember it's not you, it's where God will take you. Because I would have never been to Africa by myself, but it's the connections that you make. Some people call it networking, I call it relationship building. Because if I'm building with you and I met you, I don't need another business card. I need a relationship with you. I need to be able to call you and say, hey, Miss Naomi, I got a man. Not, hey, Miss Naomi, what you need? Or what can you do for me type of situation all the time. Now, sometimes it is like that, but we built a relationship with each other. So I know I can call her up outside of business. Sometimes we get so busy with just grabbing business cards and we forget people's names and what they do. So that's why that exercise this morning was so important. Because you actually take time out of your busy lives to get to know somebody. Be a difference in one person's life. We can't save everybody, but you can save one person. You can help one person a day, even if it's just giving a compliment. Your mindset will follow. That's why it's so important when I came in that I high-fived everybody. Y'all didn't even know it, right? High-fiving, I pushed my positive energy off on y'all. So y'all received it even if you didn't want to. You felt it a little bit. You was like, oh, that Dr. Bro, she kind of slick. Now she got me smiling and everything. I don't, what was that about? But you will remember that. You will take that back and be like, man, you know what? That was kind of cool what she did. Yeah, that Dr. Bro, she all right with me. She all right with me, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and stand up. Now, I want to give you guys the 6 P's of life. My 6 P's always hold me down. The first one is pray, because you have to pray about everything.
Yes.
Somebody say everything.
Everything.
Everything. Think on it, right? Because you got to have God no matter what.
Yes.
They try to take them out of school. They try to take them out of our lives. Well, we have to be determined to keep them in it, in everything you do. Okay? Prioritize. We wear so many hats every day. I'm a sister. I'm a auntie. Girlfriend now. Hey. Almost wife. Did you catch that? Okay, he caught it. He working on it. Okay, but we wear all of these different hats every day. So it's important that you prioritize, okay? Men, same thing. Y'all have all these different hats, your uncle, your businessman, husband, whatever it may be. You have to wear those hats. Sometimes you can take them off and sometimes you can't, okay? So prioritize your life. The second one, hold on, my phone locked up. Okay, passion. Find your passion in life because your passion will lead you to your purpose or vice versa. Your purpose will lead you to your passion. Whichever way you want to gravitate, you can hold on to it either way. But keep it going, okay? Purpose and persistent. Be persistent in whatever you do, okay? Don't stop because somebody said to stop. You keep going because you said so, okay? So always remember that. And to be patient. Sometimes we want to jump on everybody's ship, and that's not right. Stay on the one you are on and follow your own course. And if you don't have a boat to get on, make one. Noah did.
Okay.
Okay? So make one. Sometimes you have to, right. But sometimes you have to create your own opportunities in life, okay? If it's something that you want to do and somebody else is doing it, still do it. Because what God has for you will always be for you, okay? And then once you have all those 6 P's, guess what you'll find? Your peace. Peace. Put the peace sign up. Peace. Because that's what we're all looking for in our life, right? You want a peaceful relationship. You want peace on your job. You want peace being an entrepreneur. You want prosperity, right? That's what we're looking for in life. So these are the last I ams. So we're going to declare them over our life today, because what you declare over your life, you have the power of life and death in your tongue, okay? So you want to say these things like you mean it, okay? I am called of God.
I am called of God.
I am chosen.
I am chosen.
I am the apple of my Father's eye.
I am the apple of my Father's eye.
I am being changed into His image.
I am being changed into His image.
I am a new creation.
I am a new creation.
I am the temple of the Holy Spirit.
I am the temple of the Holy Spirit.
I am forgiven.
I am forgiven.
I am redeemed.
I am redeemed.
This is my favorite one. Y'all ready? I am blessed.
I am blessed.
Say that again. I
I
am
am
blessed.
blessed.
I am above and not beneath.
I am above and not beneath.
I am victorious.
I am victorious.
And last one. Oops, I passed it up. Where is it? No, not that. I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
And then the last one. I am awesome.
Awesome.
I am phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
And fabulous.
And fabulous.
All right, that's my time. That's my high Stop. Because, mentally, psychologically, women will obey the voice of a man before a voice of a woman. I went to school. I told you I did a drive-by school. I did go to somebody. I went somewhere. And so we will. So I had to put the men on the backside. So when y'all get tired and sleepy because you know y'all going to get full, I had to make sure that voice comes out to say, thou art awesome. And use some these and thous, and then you really will believe it. Isn't that something? Isn't it something that we can sharpen each other, but we'll believe what the man say? I could tell you, girl, you are beautiful. You got dimples. If I had 2 of those dimples, man. But if a guy said you have pretty dimples, then your head swells up. I'm sorry. So anyway, but I want us to get ready for our next speaker, which is my sweetie pie, my honey bunny, my friend. I kind of grabbed her and snagged her and told her, you gonna be my friend. I need some friends. These friends I got, I don't know. But I met her at a women's conference, and I met her the same year that I met you, right? Yeah. I sure did. And so I didn't know that they, this is me. Let's do business together. You a nurse, and you a nurse, and y'all do nurse stuff and save some lives. I don't know. Find a way you can collaborate. I believe in collaborateurs and all that stuff. And so I didn't know. I was just a host at this conference that they were supposed to pay for lunch. I didn't know. I said, well, come eat with me. I need some people to eat with me, right? And she was like, I don't know if we're supposed to go. I said, well, I said you can get in. Now, I'm somebody. I didn't find out till later that they were supposed to pay, because the lady that gave the conference says, there's too many people in this room. I said, I don't know nothing about your numbers. I'm just here eating my lunch with my new best friends, right? So none of them told me until months later that they were not supposed to be in the room with the VIPs. Well, I didn't know. I was just eating. It was chicken. There's some chicken. I felt that everybody liked chicken, so we should all be together, right? We're all going to be together. So I want to introduce Naomi Jones. I met Naomi same time I met her, and it was funny. I said, Naomi, you want to go on tour with me? And she was like, well, yeah, you taking me to places that got chicken. And then somebody invited me to their suite that eat. I'm like, well, I don't know these people. They invited me to their room. I don't know people like that. I ain't got none of my weapons of mass destruction on me. And I said, I need to bring backup in case something happened. And so they came. They go, we're going with you. So we all ended up in this room, and they fed us some more chicken. Man, it was good, and some nachos. And so, everything evolves around food. That's just how this is my life. And so I said, you should go on tour with me. And she said, okay.
And so it was amazing. The next year, I said, well, now that you got the hang of it, what are you going to do now? You should do your own tour. She go, well, hold on now. I don't know about all this. I said, well, what's the problem now? Now what's the problem? She said, well, I don't know what had happened. I said, girl, I'll help you. I told you that I'm your friend. I'm committed to you. You tell me what you need me to do, and I'll do it. And so now she's doing her tour simultaneously with mine. So her event was yesterday. So she had me working the door. Why is this floor? Am I that? No. Dr. Roy didn't creep when you were there. Did I reach the weight capacity? It was a donut. It's the donut. It wasn't cake. Step back. They cricket right here. It was a weight check. So I introduce you guys to Naomi Jones.
I ain't going there. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Cass. It's so true. And I'm staying away from that area because it's true. It didn't creak when you were out here. So, and if it's creaking with her, honey, that might be the baptismal the pool down there. Yeah. It was more like 60%, but I got it done. Because that push, that intention that had to be, because now I can't say that I said yes, and now I said I had a book, and now I don't show up with anything. So it pushed me to finish my book. So in this book, I tell the story about the eagle and the chicken. And when I first went on the first tour, my first day of the tour, I'm talking about the story of the eagle and the chicken. And when I was getting it ready, there was a picture, as I'm preparing the PowerPoint, there's a picture of an eagle mean mugging a chicken. I mean mean mugging a chicken. And so I said, my husband asked me before I go, okay, tell me what you're going to say. I said, well, this chicken is mean, this eagle is mean mugging this chicken. I think that he's checking him. Check your chicken. He's like, I like that. Well, I get there to the conference and they go check your chicken. And they said, did she just say check your chicken? It just resonated with people, right? They start throwing candy at me and carrying on and everything. And they're saying, but the love was there in that, and I didn't know that was a thing. That if you like somebody, what they're saying, you throw stuff at them. I'm from New York. We don't do that. That was going to get a different response. But I didn't have a return ticket for a couple days, so I just had to chill with that, okay? But yeah, they was about to have the wrong person up in that piece. But they're just throwing stuff at me and everything, but what they ended up throwing at me was, hey, that is a great idea. It resonated with them, and they brought it back to me and said, you need to keep moving with this. So I said, receiving information, receiving help. And they really helped me really think about it. And then Dr. Cass, that's how she actually wrote the book, Drug Pusher, because we all had to realize that we were accusing her of being a pusher. Because she's a pusher. She wasn't taking it. She sat me down, and then she was like, okay, we had the restaurant. Where's the chickens? Okay, you go on Fiverr, you go, and I don't know nothing about Fiverr. So it's like, go on Fiverr, you got to find somebody to create some chickens for you and do this, and I want it by tomorrow morning. Oh, okay. So in that life came Check Your Chicken. So what Check Your Chicken is really all about is about your mindset. You need to have a mindset of success. But what happens is, because of life and everything that goes on with our lives, we end up having some pretty negative mindsets. So when you have some unsuccessful mindsets, they actually captivate. They captivate your mind and they stop you. They put you in a prison, because we have all of these experiences that we have from the time we're born that shape your perspective. So you start thinking about how I think about life. Well, I am who I am, and I don't need to change. And all of that is really because maybe you had to be a certain way to survive in certain circumstances. But we always get to time to look at ourselves and say, what's really working for me now? Because what may have worked for you before may not be working for you now. Okay? And I just love the way God works, because you were touching on stuff that I talk about. You were touching on. Dr. Rowe touches on. God just puts this all together, and it's to make a point. He wants us to not be captive. We are supposed to be His shining lights in this world. We are the example, but how can you be the example if you're hiding for fear, right? So, strongholds. One of my strongholds in my life that just didn't get healed until just recently was my father, because I spent my life as an abandoned child, because my father left when I was 7. And to me, that told me that I was unworthy because he left. How does a parent leave a child? So I must not have been good, because our last experience was he gave me a spanking. So I must have done something bad, right? So what happens is that it wasn't until I met him again when I was 16, and then our relationship was sketchy because he was still who he was. So he gets to the point about 2 years ago where he's dying. And so I go out to see him in Vegas, and I'm going to go and get my answers as to why you left me, because I need my healing. I need my apology. I need you to explain why you left and you could stay gone, and if why my life wasn't important to you. That was a stronghold, because everything I did in my life was related to that. So how did I seek other relationships with other men, with other women? Because